Hey there, I'm Josh Elledge, the Chief Executive Angel at SavingsAngel.com, and welcome to the Savings Angel Show. I'm podcasting to you on this gorgeous day from Orlando, Florida. I'm an extremely busy consumer expert, money-saving advocate, syndicated newspaper columnist, and that guy that turns digital entrepreneurs into media celebrities at UpMyInfluence.com. I love what I do, and I can't wait to get going on today's episode. So let's get going. Okay, so we're now into the part of the show where you're going to learn how to fight really good and we're going to do this with my wife, Jenny. So Jenny Elledge, Mrs. Elledge, you may not know if you're listening to this podcast, but my wife is actually a very accomplished marriage and family therapist. She's a licensed marriage and family therapist here in Florida. And you also see a lot of couples online as well, like in other states. Technically,
coaching.
It's coaching, but Jenny is a licensed marriage and family therapist. You've been doing a lot of really good work with a lot of really good couples, right? Before we talk about how to fight really well, and by the way, if you're listening to this, you are going to have an unfair advantage in the future once you learn what Jenny's going to teach us. She actually schooled me on this a long time ago, and now we're able to use ninja skills on one another. And it's kind of funny. So we both studied family science in college. You went on and got your master's.
Yes, I did.
I got distracted with the whole internet thing.
You did.
And so believe it or not, my goal in life in college was to become a love doctor on the radio. So now through the Savings Angel Show, I don't get to dispense a lot of love advice. Your skill set at that dwarfs mine. I'm the coupon guy, apparently.
You're the coupon guy.
Okay, so share what you do, because you're so amazing, and I learned so much from you. Our kids learned so much from you. I don't even know. Everything you do is kind of confidential.
It is kind of confidential.
It's not like you can come home and talk about like what you did today.
No.
It's one of those jobs you say like, well, if I told you, I'd have to kill you.
No, not quite like that. But well, thank you for the nice intro. That was nice. So yeah, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in the state of Florida. I've been working with couples, and not exclusively. I work with individuals too, but I do love enjoying. Can you edit that out?
Nope, we're going live. There's no editing. Go. Yeah.
I enjoy working with couples because I really like that dynamic of helping with relationships there. So yeah, I'm going to teach you guys a little bit about a communication skill, if you'd like to hear about it today.
Nope, that's all the time. It's like one of my favorite segments on Saturday Night Live is What's Up With That? And so Kenan Thompson, it's like a takeoff of like a BET show where like he's got like all this razzmatazz, like at the beginning of the show, he's got like 3 really amazing guests. Mm-hmm. And he never gets to the guests because he's too busy, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
That's me.
That's you. So I need to tell you to be quiet, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so so again, grab a pencil, get ready to write this down, because I think I know a little bit about what you're about to share.
Yeah.
And so conflict resolution is probably something you see pretty often. Like couples are like, we argue and fight, which everybody does.
Everybody does it.
Yeah. And it's like two people. This is how I think of it. Because you and I have heated conversations from time to time as well.
What? We have conflict? No way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. and afterwards, we're like, we're two smart people. Mm-hmm. What's wrong? Like, we should be able to solve these things without all the blah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to let you take the stage right now. Okay. All right, so maybe just talk about, and I think the first thing that was really helpful is that everybody has conflict.
Everybody does.
Totally normal.
And actually, everybody has perpetual conflict, meaning there is never going to be a satisfactory solution for both partners. Everybody has them. It's due to how we're wired, personality-wise. Like, for instance, spenders, tend to be married to savers when it comes to money. And that you're going to find maybe some different tips along the way to kind of manage that, but you're never going to kind of unwind the personality traits and say, okay, now you're just like me. So perpetual conflict is going to be there for every relationship. So what the goal is to move from these conflicts where you feel kind of gridlocked and you're not moving traction and all you're doing is kind of saying hurtful things to each other, is to move to a dialogue where your goal is to talk about your own individual needs and feelings, and your partner's goal is to listen and to kind of validate those feelings.
So what you're saying is...
Oh, good. You're modeling here. So what I hear you say is that's called reflecting.
Okay.
When you reflect what you've heard your partner say.
Right. So I think it's pretty common that everybody, like, I've got something I want to say. And so I think a lot of times our tendency is to want to just, you. Okay, now me. And then, I'm saving up what I want to say. Yeah. And so we're not really listening because we're just waiting to say what we want to say.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to be what?
Heard. They want to be heard.
Yeah. Imagine that. Okay.
And there's a way you can do that without going through all the hurtful, things, or maybe even some couples like to be conflict avoiders where they don't ever talk about their conflicts, and that can bottle up and kind of explode over little tiny things, and you're going, whoa, where did that come from?
You're not talking about like stonewalling, are you?
No, I'm talking about general conflict avoiders, like.
Oh, so something is bothering them over and over and over again.
You see it a lot in females, but females are kind of conditioned in our society to not really talk about their needs beyond kind of like their relational need. So sometimes they just kind of bottle it up in order to keep the peace type of thing. They're like, I'm not going to worry about what my need is. I'm just going to bottle it up and move on with my day type of thing. So yeah, so anyway, back to, the conflict of, resolving conflict. Yeah, like I said, you want to move from this idea of I'm going to hurt you to let's just have a dialogue about what my needs are, what my feelings are, and you're going to hear me, and then you're going to reflect back what you hear and maybe even validate what I have to say too.
Okay. So what I want to do is like share some very specific examples, like what that sounds like.
Well, I need to set up some rules. So the rule is... So we have the speaker and we have the listener. So you're going to take turns. You don't need to do this for every type of, small little disagreement, but it's helpful for when you're in kind of this gridlock and you're feeling your emotion kind of really rising and escalating. Right. So you kind of go, okay, let's do this little exercise here. Let's do this reflective type of listening, also known as active listening too. So one person is going to be the speaker. The speaker's job is to talk about themselves. So they're going to use I statements. I feel blah, blah, blah about this, blah, blah, blah. And what I need from you is blah, blah, blah. That's kind of the general formula right there. I feel blah, blah, blah about this, blah, blah, blah. And what I need from you is blah, blah, blah. It's going to be not quite that simple moving forward because, people are complex, but that's kind of the general formula to follow. The reason you want to use I feel statements is that when you start saying the word you, what do you start to feel already? You start to feel that kind of tension like, oh, I'm under attack. Right. And what happens when you're under attack? Well, my defenses go up. And when my defenses go up, we're not going to have a very productive dialogue.
I think that's probably for me one of the things that I've just committed to never use those terms. Plus, speaking in, I don't want to get too sidetracked here, but speaking in absolutes.
Yeah.
So you never, like if you're beginning a sentence like that, look out, because that's just going to escalate.
Yeah,
for sure.
Automatically, you're going to feel defensive, and also you're going to also think of examples where, hey, you're wrong. I can think of examples where I wasn't like this, and then you're just getting sidetracked about, who you are as a person. Yeah. It feels like a character, assassination kind of. You're like, making me to be this kind of bad person who has this really bad pattern, and it's not always like that. It's just sometimes, right?
Right.
So anyway, yeah, you want to talk about I feel
Yeah.
statements.
So, for example, like, let's say we were out in public and I did like an eye roll in front of other people or something like that, and I embarrassed you. And so then you want to let me know. So for example, how would you say that?
So later in the day,
Yes.
like maybe not exactly right then, because in front of everybody else, you will say, hey, babe, when you did that eye roll earlier in the night, I felt really hurt when you did that. And what I need from you is to maybe not do that. It makes me feel embarrassed.
Ah, good. All right. Another example. What's
A bad way of doing that
Yeah.
was saying, I can't believe you did that to me. That was so hurtful, and it makes me feel like you don't even care about me.
Which I think that's a very normal thing for people to say, because they're just sharing how they feel. They sharing how they feel, but they're doing it in a way that's, probably feels, I got to protect myself here. So that's why they communicate in that way to the other partner.
Yeah, because people don't like to be vulnerable with their partners. It can be really hard. Even when you've been in a long-term committed relationship for a long, long time, it still can be very, very difficult to share your vulnerable parts of yourself with your partner, because sometimes your partner doesn't always receive that in a very loving, kind way. And so you kind of learn, being vulnerable hurts sometimes, not really comfortable, and I don't like the result of it, so I'm not going to always share. So instead of sharing vulnerability, you share anger. And when you share anger, that just makes the whole thing kind of escalate.
Okay. So partner one just said,
That's the speaker.
the speaker. So partner one just said, I feel, right? And what I need from you is.
Yeah, and it needs to be a positive need.
Right.
It needs to not be something like...
What I need from you is to shut up.
Yeah, exactly. I need you not to be annoying, please. That would be great. No, that's just being sarcastic. It's not a positive need. It need to be, I need you to ask me about my day, so I know that you're attuned to my feelings and how I feel about things too.
Okay. And so then what would the other partner then say or do when they hear that?
Okay, well, that's getting to the...
I don't mean to...
That's getting into the listener job. There's a couple more things as a speaker. So you want to do I feel statement. You want to also, if it's a hard thing for you to learn how to get attuned to your own feelings, that's going to be kind of a skill that you need to learn how to do. So if you're only used to feeling a couple of emotions like anger, maybe sadness once in a while, but it's mainly anger, you're going to have to explore a little bit of what other types of feelings might be there too. Right. So we actually, just as a side tip, we call anger as a secondary emotion. It usually it's kind of at that big, powerful emotion that hides those more vulnerable emotions, like feeling sad, feeling hurt, feeling disappointed, feeling unwanted. Mm-hmm. Nobody likes to feel those things, right? It's very uncomfortable to feel unwanted and lonely and unheard.
How do you find, so if anger is a secondary emotion, because I think sometimes, maybe I don't know how to be introspective enough to find out, well, what am I really feeling here? And I'm thinking, tell me where I'm wrong here, is if I say, I'm feeling angry right now, is just to ask myself the question, well, why do I feel angry? Yeah. So just keep asking why. Yeah. Well, I feel angry because this happened.
And you might need to calm your body down. So part of learning to, another skill set for you to learn is learning how to calm yourself down. We call that self-soothing. So you can do that through deep breathing, belly breathing. You can do that through muscle relaxation. You can even do that through just even temporary distractions like playing a game on your phone, just letting your body kind of resume and fall back to its normal state. And then once you're feeling a little bit more calm, see what happens when you're angry, you get escalated, and then the part of your brain called the amygdala starts being activated, and that's where your fight, flight, or freeze response kicks in. And that is hardwired into our brain. That is a hard thing to overcome because it's there for our self-protection. It's there for emergency. But sometimes we activate it through these, emotional types of dialogue. And when it's activated, it actually shuts down the prefrontal cortex part of our brain, which is the thinking part of our brain.
Part, right? That's the thinking part.
And so we know through studies that actually the logical part of the brain does get kind of diminished because the amygdala is like, I'm in charge here. Right. Let me assess the situation, make sure we're all safe here, because that's its job, to keep you safe. Right. So that's why the anger seems to be such a big, huge emotion. And even other emotion too, like feeling extremely sad and hurt, you kind of shut down type of thing. And your logical brain doesn't always quite, not running at full speed here. So right. When you can get yourself kind of calm and feeling okay again, that's a good time to start asking those introspective questions, like what's really going on here?
Right. And so sometimes, like, let's say something like a major stressor happens in a couple, and they're like, oh yeah, like I want to argue this out right now. So that might not be real effective.
No, that's the key part of the, the conflict resolution skills, is learning to address them when you're already feeling calm. So if you're already noticing that you're stressed, you need to take a break. You need to say, I want to talk about this. We're going to get back in about 20 minutes. We recommend at least 20 minutes to kind of, let your body resume back to normal. And then you can start. We call it you want to start with a gentle startup. You want to be already calm, and you want to talk about your own self. I feel, and your feeling, and your need, your positive need.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what's next?
Also, another thing to be careful of is to be careful of criticizing, blaming, and also contempt. Contempt means things like name calling, eye roll. You want to avoid those things. In fact, contempt is one of the strongest predictors of divorce. Yeah. So you really do not want to engage in those types of behaviors. It's like this feeling of superiority, like I'm a bigger, better person than you are, and you're just like nothing. So I'm just going to call you a bunch of names and make you feel dumb and stupid type of thing.
No. So, but this probably just takes practice. So if you've always if you frequently in arguments, you resort to name calling, and that's just normal for you, it's probably just going to take practice to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Because while it might feel satisfying to lash out at the other person, I think the problem is this is going to be a big blow up. And I guess you just have to decide, listen, do I want to, attack the other person and feel like I'm winning this thing, mm-hmm. or do I want resolution? I remember hearing this once. It's like, do I want to be right, or do I want love? And so I think, if I can remember that, I think sometimes that's helpful to keep my try to be in a more of a space of humility in this, and just say, look, I'm just going to swallow my pride here. I'm going to bite my tongue if there's some things I feel like I want to say. I'm not going to say that because I know that's just going to mess things up here.
Yeah, it's just your ego talking anyway, yeah. And you don't live, in a bubble by yourself in the world. You have to relate to people, so it can't always be about you anyway.
Right.
So that's why you don't do things like name calling, because you don't want other people to do that to you, right?
Right. Okay. So continuing on.
So that's the speaker's job.
Yeah.
You want to avoid the blaming, criticizing, contempt. You want to use the I feel statement. You want to talk about a positive need. And then the listener's job has some things that he or she needs to do as well. So the listener's job needs to, first of all, agree to postpone their agenda. So that means they're not going to come in and say, when you're talking, are we okay over there?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Am I distracting you?
Well, you're looking at the audio.
I was just looking at the level, so that's okay. You're good.
Okay, good. Josh's volume level is way higher than mine, but so we have to make sure we're kind of evened out here.
Yeah. With 20-something years of marriage.
Broadcasting. You got that broadcasting voice, and I don't. I have the therapy voice, and he has the broadcasting voice.
That's perfect. We settled into our correct spaces.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know that I'd be good in a therapy situation. I think people would be kind of
a little intimidated.
Leaning back a little bit. Man, this guy. Woo.
Coming in strong, coming in hot. Okay. So the listener's job, you have to agree to kind of postpone your agenda. this idea of, I'm going to prove you wrong. You don't want to really engage in that type of mindset here. And then your job is mainly to be an active listener. So some people may even not like to take notes if you're that type of person, or you can just kind of, follow along in your head about what the speaker is talking about. And when the speaker is done talking, what you want to say is, what I hear you saying is, and then you want to reflect kind of back all of the things that the speaker said. Now, if the speaker did their job correctly, they will have only talked about their own feelings, and there's no criticism going on. And so therefore, the listener, all that's happening is you're reflecting back your partner's feeling. And then your partner the speaker will say, yeah, you got it. Or, you don't quite have it like this. I really meant it like this. Mm-hmm. So there can be kind of this back and forth dialogue about understanding what the speaker's, feelings are and what they're needed.
And again, as the listener, you gotta hold, just kind of you'll get your turn.
Yeah, exactly.
But right now, because everybody wants to feel like they're being listened to, understood, and heard. Mm-hmm. This boy, I tell you, I get to speak personally. This is really going to be so much more effective for folks.
Oh yeah, it's going to move your conversation and dialogue much more quickly through. You're going to get through this if you can agree to engage in this type of dialogue back and forth. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the listener is going to be asking open-ended questions. So like, help me understand this. Did you mean it like this when you said that thing? Help me. Is there a story behind that? Because I'm not quite getting where you're coming from. So those are types of open-ended questions.
Okay.
And then, you're going to summarize and reflect back what you heard your partner say. And then the last and very important part is to validate and empathize with the speaker. And that can sound something like, yeah, that makes sense that you would feel that way when I did that thing. It makes sense, right? Mm. So it's not just reflecting back like a robot type of thing. You're like trying to empathize with your partner's feelings. You want to kind of sit in that space of, okay, that's how you felt. Okay, so you felt really sad. Yeah, I get that. I can see how you would feel sad, when I did that. Man. It may not have been my intention, but I can see from your point of view how, you would feel that way.
Yeah, and think about if you're the speaker. So think about your partner right now. And by the way, when we say your partner, this sort of conflict resolution, this is great for parenting with kids.
Yeah.
Oh,
especially as they get older, like into teenagers, when they can be a little bit more understanding of their complex, feeling. Not really. It's not going to work with a toddler type of thing.
No, the world's all about them all the time. All right.
Yeah, and it works well with, partnerships and, businesses. It works well with friendships. So when you have a disagreement with a friend type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So did we cover everything?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then, how many things does the speaker get to share?
Well, this isn't going to be a monologue, right? So you want to kind of focus on a core issue, the core thing. So this isn't like, I'm going to bring up everything you've been doing wrong and everything I've been feeling for the last 5 years, right? Mm. It's just what's happening today, currently. You can get to the other stuff. I mean, you're not supposed to carry around grudges anyway type of thing, but, you want to kind of concentrate on what's happening kind of today.
So if you're the listener, what if you really, really disagree with what the speaker said?
That's the whole point. You don't have to agree here. The point is to just learn what your partner's perception is. So if we can enter into this exercise with this idea of we are two partners with equal and valid perspectives and realities, that's the whole goal.
Yeah.
So it's not about finding this right and wrong type of thing. We're not in a court. This isn't like a trial before a jury type of thing. Mm-hmm. It is really about perspective, and perspective is so influenced by many factors that it's not even worth it to try to get into this right versus wrong. Oh no, when that happened at 8:05, not 8:10, like you're saying, and it's just not very helpful to the point of the dialogue. You want to have a dialogue back and forth where I understand you and you understand me, and when I share my feeling and I share a need, you receive that with an open heart and a loving kind of embrace, you're going to create this relationship where you do more and more of that. And when you do more and more of this back and forth vulnerability and sharing, you're going to feel connected. And when you feel connected, you generally have a really very good, healthy relationship.
Yeah. You know, one visual that I remember seeing is, you know, imagine two people in their arm wrestling and each person is just pushing as hard as they can against the other person, you know, because I'm going to win. I'm going to win this thing. And in order to win, that means you have to make the other person the loser. I think what we're talking about is almost, again, imagine two people arm wrestling and I let you win and you know, kind of we take turns kind of going back and forth. So I let you win, you let me win, you know, and we just kind of go back and forth and back and forth. And then afterwards, like, hey, everybody got a chance to quote unquote win, or in this case, just feel heard instead of just like pushing as hard as we can against the other person to try and win an argument.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting into the whole idea of compromise here, which we'll have, maybe we can save that topic for another time. But yeah, the idea behind that is yield to win. You want to yield a little bit in order to win, the winning part being this connection in the relationship.
Yeah. Well, Jenny Elledge, so you are on the web, and in fact, we've got your phone number here, and this would go to your assistant, your office manager, and I don't know the number, so because I don't call it very often. So I just pulled up JennyElledge.com. It's Jenny, Jenny with a Y.
Yep.
And Elledge, of course, is ELL and then Edge, EDGE. And your office manager is 407-901-7988. Is that right? Do we have
right.
That's the way we got the right phone number on it. Okay.
Yep.
I'm the webmaster. So every once in a while, it's nice to kind of double check, make sure I have the correct information on there. And just share like what sorts of things that you can help couples and individuals with. And then, I'll let you start with that. And I've got a couple other questions about that.
So what do I help couples with? Yeah, I help them with anything and everything that comes through the door. So that can be anything from, you know, kind of long-standing issues that have been going on, things that may have been brought over from childhood into their current relationship that they are still kind of struggling with. It can be things like infidelity, sexual issues. It really is anything that that happens in a couple relationship.
Right. I mean, you got two different people, or just, you know, they love each other, you know, in their heart, but you know, what is it like? Like if someone's never talked with a therapist or counselor, like what is the experience like? And again, probably most people listening to this interview or listening to this podcast right now would probably engage with you online. So how does that work?
Oh, online is, you know, the studies show it's very similar to in office, except it tends to be a little bit easier because you don't have to drive anywhere. You just pop onto your computer. But the experience of it, we have found through studies that it's very similar to, you still get the therapeutic benefit as in showing up in the office. So really, you just kind of show up on a secure platform, kind of like a Zoom call or a Skype type call, and you go back and forth and talking. So long as everyone has a good high-speed internet, and there's no buffering going on, it should be good.
Okay. So, and if they have any questions on that, so they can call 407-901-7988, and they could probably just ask your manager all about, like, how does this work? How does that work?
Yeah.
And then how much does it cost?
So I charge $100 per session. It's actually a very competitive rate.
Oh, that is, especially for your level of experience.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is generally when you see clients, you're not seeing them for years and years and years.
No. Especially with couples relationships. So it kind of depends. So I won't know like how long it's going to take until I meet with you type of thing. But Some issues can be resolved in 4 to 8 sessions. Some take, 3 to 6. And if it's a long-standing issue like infidelity type of issue, that's going to take longer, like a year or so, because we've got to uncover and unpack some issues there.
Right. But think of the value of, being able to, think of the best time of your relationship that you've ever had with your loved one, or even if you have conflict with an older child or something like that, and to be focused together, and to get that resolved, going on, maybe, if you're at a point in your relationship where, even vacation, you're like, you're going to fight on vacation and stuff. And, to be able to so quickly resolve that so it's not an issue. Think of the value of being able to have that back in your relationship. That's possible, right?
For sure.
Yeah. With being able to experience couples counseling.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. So, Jenny, anything else? Any other parting words or any other things that?
Yeah, something that, couples will want to understand is that your therapist, or your counselor, whoever you choose to kind of partner up with in this journey, is that they are not going to be coaching you one way or the other. Mm-hmm. If you're kind of on this fence of, do I stay in or do I leave type of thing, mm-hmm. Your counselor should kind of support you in your decision-making process. They're not going to lean you one way or the other. They may ask you, what is your decision? Do you want to try staying in while we work through couples counseling? Because, of course, we know that it does work. It doesn't work for every situation, but it does work for a lot of them.
Wow.
So if you're kind of worried about, I don't want to go because I don't want my counselor telling me to do one thing when I don't want to do it, that's not the case there.
Right. So it's more client-led, or like is there a term for that? Or
well, the therapist always wants to meet the client's values.
Right.
They don't want to impose their own personal biases or values on to the client.
That's great. Okay, cool. So again, the phone number, 407-901-7988. Your office manager's great. What's her name?
Well, you can meet with Cindy or Lisa.
Okay.
And then I also have an email, jenny@jennyellard.com too, if you want to ask me any question that way too.
Oh, awesome. Jenny, thank you so much. All right. So for the person who's been listening to this conversation, by the way, Jenny is a wealth of information. If you would, I'm like having so much fun. I'm like, man, I've been podcasting for getting on 6 years now. This is like almost embarrassing. This is the first time we've done this. I think, I'm more of the podcasting personality. You like to not necessarily podcast. And so maybe that might have been, part of the hesitation that we never kind of got around to doing this. But if you would like to hear Jenny again, or you'd like to hear, because you could probably teach a lot of good stuff if we were to have you on again. Yeah. So maybe we should do this on a regular basis. And so do you take requests?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So the phone lines are open. We take requests. Actually, if you just search Savings Angel in Facebook, join our Facebook group. You can post there like, hey, really love the conversation with Josh and his wife. Learned a lot of really great skills, blah, 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 whatever you want to say. But just let us know what you want to hear about. Or again, if you maybe more privately want to make a request, then of course you can send an email directly to Jenny, jenny@jennyelledge.com. That's Jenny. Elledge is ELLEDGE. I know how to spell that last name pretty well.
Good.
Yeah. And Jenny, when we have you back sometime, we'll have to talk about, because I don't think I've really ever shared our story of how we met. And
that's a good one.
Well, yeah, I'm going to give a little teaser. Mm-hmm. We got engaged after knowing each other for 20 days.
I know, right?
All right. And we've been married for now, again, 24.
20, yeah. We're going on 24 years
24
now.
years. Yeah. Oof, this fall. Wow. That's
but
amazing.
We're not that old, really.
No, we are so young, so hot. I honestly, like I said, the picture that's on Savings Angel right now, you can see our family. And I said, man, the kids look so different. Like they're so much older because the pictures of It's a few years old.
Up for you.
But you and I, we haven't aged today. We look amazing.
Oh, wow. Wow. Look at you go.
Well, I should say you look amazing. Me, I'm goofy as all. Goofy looking as always. All right, Jenny, thanks for joining us.
All right, take care. Bye.